the Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Well. Look who showed up for the Steve Dangle Podcast. Guys, it's Steve Dangle, who's currently in the midst of another mid-season crisis.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Jesse, how are you feeling now? You good? Everyone's been worried about you.
Everybody has, you know.
They're asking if everything's okay.
I don't think I'm gonna. Don't think I'm gonna do it anymore.
What?
I think I'm gonna give up press conferences and do something else with my life because it's not worth it.
I get it.
Worth it.
You know, it's about time. Like, I think you should take a break. I think you need to take a break, man, because we love you and we're cheering for you. And
thank you.
Okay, this isn't
we
going
just want
anywhere,
Waffles
Steve.
to have
Are you okay?
Steve, also, can you do me one favor and just sit a little back so your frame? There you go.
No.
So your head's not in the whole frame. There you go. Thank you.
Steve, you okay?
I'm better today.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like everyone else. I'm not having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bad day. And also the Leafs lost. Back-to-back humiliating losses. And then everyone told me it was fine. And I was like, okay, well, it's not, but whatever.
See, is it not okay for the Leafs or is it not okay for society and especially Ontario?
Mostly that. The Premier cried on television today.
Yeah.
It's not going great, folks. Yeah. So, I don't know. We're all going through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're all going through it.
Hey, Jesse, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Okay. So, after the humiliating back-to-back losses, your reaction was what?
One, I disagree with your characterization of the games as humiliating because I don't think that's what they were.
Fair.
Two, I am okay. I think the Leafs are okay as well. I think they will move forward, and we'll see how they do in the playoffs, where they will be the number one seed in their division, and we'll see how they perform there because that is when I think games truly matter.
Follow up to that question, Jesse. How many places did the Leafs fall despite having a terrible last 5 games?
Adam, I will counter that question with a question. How many places have the Leafs fallen since the first 2 weeks of the season?
I believe the answer to that is 0.
0. Big old
0,
donut.
0, 0, 0, 0. Now, let me ask you this.
Listen, I need to apologize.
Hey, you can't interrupt. Jesse and I are having a very deep conversation on the Steve Dangle. The Steve Dangle podcast.
This is my break. I'll take a break.
The SDPN.
Oh,
Here's Waffles.
She got trapped in my headphones, and then she jumped on my lap because she was
Okay.
Waffles.
So let me ask you this, Jesse. What are the chances that the Canucks make the playoffs this year?
They have a decent chance, like an outside chance, but it's not very likely.
Can I read the Thomas Drance tweet?
Sure.
I'm going to paraphrase it, which is the next 4 games are against Ottawa, and if we win all 4, we have a 42% chance of making the playoffs.
I mean, that's better than 25.
Yeah, because Montreal isn't doing it, you know, like I know they won. When was it, last night or night before? I forget, but
last night
they haven't taken the reins of the hold of the 4th spot. So like, I'm not ruling out Vancouver, but it's an outside shot. Right, you're not done until you're done.
Really, it's not about Vancouver. It's about the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have had a spectacular year, are still in first, lost 2 meaningless fucking games to a team that really doesn't matter that much. And you know what? Good. Emotional wins for them. And got 839 save percentage from their goalies. But yes, let's worry about the entire team. 2 bad performances. Jack Campbell, I would be concerned. 5 bad performances in a row. Dave Rittich, not looked great. Well, he's looked okay in the first game. Some of those goals, boys, sometimes you need to save. And I'm going to echo what Sheldon Keefe said. There's nothing wrong with the team. Sheldon Keefe said, I'm not worried about the team, worried about the goaltending. Fair. But to say that those 2 games are somehow indicative of some longer trend here, I just don't see it. And what's very funny, and Steve, I will allow you to respond in just a second. What's very funny is the amount of people who responded to you who said, if you're not upset about this, the way Steve is, screw Adam and Jesse, by the way, if you're not upset, then you don't care. Actually, I do care, but I also have this weird thing called perspective.
I have a lot of listeners in California.
What do you mean?
Adam and Jesse, you're just not getting it.
Oh.
You guys just don't get it.
You know, I took the 405 down to Pasadena, and I pulled off on the 32 exit, and there I saw Adam and Jesse not caring.
With this goaltending, we're on a straight path down the 1, all the way up the 405.
They might even fall to number 2 in the standings.
Not number 2.
Are you serious?
It's honestly,
You're
guys,
not serious. You can't be serious right now.
Are you spelling it out for me right now? T-U-H?
It's the
Oh my God.
Guys, listen, I know it's upsetting to see the Leafs lose spectacularly bad, but this is the Leafs. This is what they do. And also, I want to throw this out there. Jesse and I had a little chat this morning, Steve. This is a little on brand for you. Like, this was coming. Name a season where you haven't had a mid to late season meltdown and said and questioned in our group chat why A, you cheer for the Leafs, and B, why do you bother doing LFRs every night?
Yeah. And it's only when the teams are good is when you have these meltdowns. Like, because when they're bad, it's just bad.
Yeah, when they're bad, you're like, this is fine.
Yeah,
maybe next year.
You seem to be in your best mood when we have terrible hockey teams in Toronto.
This is the best behavior I've ever been on, by the way, not interrupting these.
So let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
You're now on the stand, Steve.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to send a heartfelt apology to Western Canada. You're absolutely right. Everything you've ever said about Toronto, Adam just confirmed it. Like the idea that just games don't matter and the Leafs deserve the benefit of the doubt. You know what? I got to say, boys, Adam, Jesse, and Adam and I have known each other since high school. Mm-hmm. Jesse, I mean, the time just passes by, man. Like, we've been friends for a long time now. Mm-hmm. And we've built this show up to something special in a real community and over 50,000 people per show. And I just think we do such a good job for guys who just picked up watching hockey this past week. That, like, nothing special ever happens. Like, the Canucks couldn't possibly go on a run and make the playoffs. We've never seen that before. Never seen that before in our lives. The goaltender is not part of the team. That's what I learned. The goaltender is not part of the team. Like, listen.
Can you make your points not in sarcasm? Can you just say the thing you want to say?
Okay, all right.
So here we go.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Thank you.
So over the 5-game slide, it's 5, right? Mm-hmm. 5-game slide. I think I saw Myrtle tweet this. The save percentage is .839.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. And that would, you could have, who's the worst starting goalie in the league? You could play the worst regular goalie in the entire NHL. You could play most American Hockey League goalies.
Martin Jones is better.
He's not even close to an 839 or whatever it is. But context is important. Context is so important. Freddie's not there. We have no idea when he's going to be back. We have no idea how he's going to be when he gets back. Jack Campbell tonight is going to go a long way to confirming or denying my worries that he's hurt. And my worries that he's hurt are not based on nothing. They're based on the fact that he's been in and out of the lineup all season. Mm-hmm. And Dave Riddick, I said it in the LFR, and perhaps I was being a bit dramatic, saying that it was the single worst goaltending performance I've seen from a Leafs goaltender since I started making these videos. It's top 10. It's up there. Those goals he allowed were shocking. They're shocking. Mm-hmm. You could put Ian Scott in his first pro game. Just throw him in there. You're on the Leafs now, and he wouldn't allow those goals. Not all of them. Not the way Riddick did. That was unbelievable. And it's just the Leafs. It's shocking to me that for so many people, you got the benefit of our doubt. You're good. Do your thing. That's amazing. The Leafs of all teams. Okay. Listen, I know the team's good. I know they're good. They're the best team in Canada. my expectations have raised.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that bad?
I don't think it's bad. I think it's just my concern is for you personally. Like, you were so down. You were, when I talked to you on the phone yesterday, you were down. No,
that's the trigger.
Well, what do you mean?
What?
The Leafs are the straw.
Oh, okay.
Like, believe it or not, I don't spend my whole day going, Engvall really shit the bed.
Like, you don't? You sure?
The closer this guy gets to being taken out of the lineup, the worse he plays. Like, the hooking. How are you supposed to be part of the penalty kill when you're in the box, Pierre?
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, that's not my entire day.
Fair.
You know what I mean? I probably spend a disgusting amount of time thinking about them, more than most people and more than what's healthy. But no, it's just, I think everything's just been awful for months now, but the Leafs have been great. and then they go on this 5-game slide. It's heading into the playoffs. There are legitimate things to worry about with the team. You know, all these injuries just seem to be piling up at the worst possible time. So that had me worried, but it's the little nudge after all the football tackles that life has thrown at us over the last little while.
So you're still going to make LFRs next year?
Listen, if they lose in the first round, listen, I'll be entertaining. I'll make an epic friggin' video. Mm-hmm. I'll do a good job. But 14 years is a long time to do something. And if they lose in the first round again, what's wrong with tweaking what I'm doing? What's wrong with tweaking it a little? Look at the hockey guy. I started a long time before him, I'm pretty sure. And his channel, like, I'm not even on the Mount Rushmore of like hockey YouTubers. I'm a tourist with fanny pack taking pictures. That's 100% true. I'm not Coach Jeremy. I'm not Nasher. I'm not the hockey guy. I'm not Pavel. I'm none of those four. Mount Rushmore's got 4 slots. I'm not up there. I discovered today I'm not even like the most successful YouTuber that went to our high school. Mark Harrison. I had no idea. Was this enormous guy. The last I heard of him, he won that Advil contest with Cabby. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
From TSN?
Mm-hmm.
That dude's got 600,000 followers on TikTok. What the hell happened there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We were literally talking about it in the group chat today.
So Mark Harrison is a guy that went
literally talking about
who basically he climbs mountain, does crazy shit.
He climbs mountains?
Yeah, he's
Yes.
like, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
It's a miracle he's alive.
He was like athlete of the year like a million times. You're not like, when you see it, you're like, I'm not totally surprised, you know?
All right.
We should have seen it coming because he'd made a prank video for like an assembly one year, and I was the one who got pranked. He fell off his skateboard and pretended to be hurt, like in the middle of the road. And me and Adam Rodericks, Adam, you would have been at this assembly. We ran to go help him, but I got made fun of the most because Adam charged into traffic like a hero, and I like stopped to look both ways and use the sidewalk. Because I didn't. My instincts were not heroic.
Well, you don't want to hurt 2 people. You got to give yourself the oxygen mask before you give it to the minor, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking there. Mark, how dare you?
So, Steve, let me ask you this. In comparison to the Mount Rushmore, who the fuck cares?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
But
like you're doing a great job, and your videos mean a lot to a lot of people. I want you to consider. No. Here's what I'm saying. I want you to consider that you've developed a format here that people really enjoy, myself included, Jesse included, and you shouldn't let possibly the most painful, ugly, awful NHL team in the league's history dictate whether you're going to continue with that format or not. Like, here's the thing, man. What you have going on is pretty special. And what you've built up with your listening audience is pretty special. See, this is where we build Steve up. Because honestly, if I was going to allow anybody else to decide how my career was going to go, it would have died a long time ago, especially the Leafs. And you hung in there for all those years. And you know, as well as I do, the second you quit doing the videos every day, I can guarantee you they're going to win the cup. So the reality is,
what if I'm the one holding them back? What if I got to stop? That's what we got to do. I'll delete the whole thing.
Listen,
that's what makes it.
I get that the pandemic sucks. It blows. And you know what sucks really is going on. And Jesse and I have to do it in the mornings with the morning show. And we come on here and you almost have to pretend that it doesn't exist. You have to pretend that you're not affected by it. You have to go and have a good time. I haven't been in the same room as Jesse and Steve, except for that one bank meeting we had.
Yeah, we had to go to the bank.
In a year and 14 months now?
Since March 15th.
And I got to tell you something. It hadn't been an easy year. Throw a pandemic and a divorce and a move and everything else that I've personally gone through. And Jesse, if he's gone through shit, he wouldn't tell us anyway, because he's the quietest person on earth, and I have no idea what's going on in his life.
I've taken up redecorating my balcony, and it's given me a little project. So
there it is.
Pandemic's been nice to me.
Steve, what I'm trying to tell you is that you acknowledged it. It sucks for everybody, right?
Of course.
Your videos give people like myself, Jesse watches them every day as well, but I don't want to speak for Jesse, give us something to look forward to. And I think threatening to take that away.
Oh, threatening.
A couple of bad Dave Rittich games is not Jack Campbell and Dave Riddick. I don't think that should be enough to derail the incredible thing that you have started.
Well, it's obviously not
videos. I'm saying I think you gotta do it after every game because it's great. Whether they win or they lose, your videos are always great. You are the most consistent thing about the Toronto Maple Leaf brand. Congratulations.
Yeah, maybe that and the blue.
Well, it's true.
Me and the fact that they wear blue and the frustration. All those look, I'm not threatening to take it away. But I don't know what's wrong with not doing one after every game and just evolving and doing something different.
We would be deprived of that. And that's what people come to you for.
Now
that's your main thing.
You're threatening to be mad.
Huh?
Why are you threatening me?
Well, I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying that's your main thing.
We're just throwing that word around. You're threatening me.
I'm just saying. It's like, okay. It's like if Nike was like, man, screw this. Adidas has taken too much of our market share. We're only making jackets now. Fuck the shoes. We've done shoes for 30 years. I'm done doing shoes. You know what I mean? It's just, it's not, this is what you do, man. This is what you do. Don't let a bad week from a team that you expect many bad weeks from, many bad months from, that you've already been gifted many bad years from. Don't let that determine how you're going to succeed, because you, my friend, have something good going. Week to week, it changes. And at least they're still number one, right? I mean, how long have you waited? Yeah. Steve, how long have you waited for the Toronto Maple Leafs to be number one in their division? How many times over the course of your LFR career have the Toronto Maple Leafs been number one in a division?
Never times.
This is the best Toronto Maple Leaf hockey team we've ever seen in our entire lives.
That includes the 93 team, the 98 team, 98-99 team, the 2002 team. This is the best team we've ever seen.
And it features the best player probably going to be in Toronto Maple Leafs history.
Oh, that they've ever had.
Without question.
Austin Matthews,
ever. Yeah. And he'll be fine too. He's
he will.
Were we worried about that?
No, but there have been a couple times over the past couple games where he looked a little bit like remember when he came back after the wrist injury and we're like, okay, so he's back but he can't shoot.
Yeah.
But he can, it's definitely a watered down version of that. Holy shit, John Tavares.
Right.
Hot as a pistol. He always seems to show up when the rest of the team doesn't.
Would you say last year is his best games, or were games that they just got crushed in?
Oh, he was one of the guys who scored against Ayers. He had, I thought, a great game 5 against Columbus. Mm-hmm. I think he was the only Leaf who scored in game 7, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Man, guy shows up when the rest of the team doesn't. It's just, he's not very talkative. So for some reason people hold it against him. And it's not like I have no dreams. I was just talking to someone yesterday about the very real possibility we could see a Toronto Maple Leafs New York Islanders Stanley Cup final.
Wow.
Oh, Say your prayers, little one. Oh my God. That would be amazing. Amazing. Listen, I don't know. Let me have bad days. Let me have them. They're not all going to be good.
All right.
What I don't like is the amount of people who saw my one little moment of weakness and then, in order to criticize me, became little versions of me.
What do you mean?
He's been shitting his pants for the past 2 games. Wow, 2 games? 2 games. How about you shit your pants? What? How about I saw your stupid fucking tweet 7-8 lines long and I didn't get past the second word. How about that?
Who are you yelling at right now?
A lot of different people.
I feel like these
That's
are very
why I stopped watching.
These are very specific.
Still following me looking ass. Fuck you.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Do these people have profile pictures, or are they just little eggs?
A lot of car selfies.
Oh, what a surprise!
A lot of car selfies. A lot of cats. Nothing wrong with cars or cats.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the theme. No, like, why can't I be sad?
You can. All we're saying is we're trying to build you up and tell you that you have something special here, and you need not worry about these sheep. You are a lion, my friend. Do not worry about them. It's not something you need to trouble yourself with.
Imagine being a Sabres fan right now.
Oh, I know. I know.
But nah, I'm gonna get upset at the number 1 Toronto Maple Leafs.
Steve, imagine you were the Steve Dangle of the Sabres, and you look at Steve Dangle of the Leafs, and you go, "Oh, bad week." Okay.
No, that's bullshit. Any Sabres fan is going, no, I get it. I know, no, because you know what the Leafs give Leafs fans that the Sabres don't? Hope, which is worse. It's meaner. It's meaner. The Leafs doing the 2019 Leafs playing like they did in games 6 and 7 after doing what they did games 1 through 5 is nothing short of psychological warfare. That is literally psychological warfare against an entire fan base, what you did in those final 2 games. Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm just going to bring up all the greatest hits.
No,
the 4-0 game that I saw against Pittsburgh, easily their most complete game of the season, was followed up in the last game before the trade deadline by losing to the emergency backup goaltender who works for you. And that was never going to happen to the Anaheim Ducks. That was never going to happen to the Calgary Flames. It was never going to happen to any of them. That could only happen to the Leafs. Only. Mm-hmm. Only. When I don't even remember his name now. Scott something. The E-bug for the Blackhawks.
Foster.
Scott Foster. At least they were down, I think it was like 6-0, 6-2, something like that. No Jets fan was like, this only happens to the Jets. No one was like, oh, it's pathetic that the Jets lost. Like, no, I mean, a lot of teams could hold it down for at least that long. Unless it's game 7, which was also the first and only time that's ever happened in 100 years. So when I see a uniquely upsetting thing setting itself up, I'm like, yeah, no, you know how winter has a smell?
Yeah.
It smells like winter. Winter's coming.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When I see the pattern, and everyone's talking about first place like a guaranteed success. Ask Tampa how that works. It's in Tampa went into the playoffs, injuries, fat and happy, not playing so good, steamrolled. Mm-hmm. Steamrolled. They had one good period in 4 games. Steamrolled. So I don't understand why people are talking about first place like it means anything when the playoffs come. You can't say the regular season is a warm-up for the playoffs and then say first place means something in the same breath.
No,
it's one or the other.
I think you can. Yeah, I mean, it does set you up for success in the playoffs.
Sure.
Right.
It's helpful.
Home ice advantage, which means nothing.
It's helpful.
All right.
Here's what I would say, Steve. What's your most viewed video all time?
David Ayres.
Okay. So why aren't you thanking this team for setting you up for unbelievable moments of drama that you give voice to, my friend?
Better yet, why does anyone get upset when I get upset? You're the sickos who created this monster. My most viewed video for a Leafs win up until Game 4 against Columbus was my 26th ranked video. This is your fault. Your fault.
Because who do people turn to, myself included, when the Leafs fuck up, and I'm mad about it?
How was I supposed to know that this is not what you wanted after you told me for 14 years it's exactly what you want? You're Dave Bautista standing under the Titantron, staring Triple H in the face, going, "Give me what I want." And then I did, and it wasn't what you wanted at all. And I got yelled at for it. And guess what? Views were up. Both videos. Terrible example to both of you. All of you. All of you, terrible example.
So are we agreed that Steve should just continue on and the Leafs will be fine?
All right.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, if we're taking
I don't
votes
want to
on
get
this
scolded again.
on this show, if we're taking votes, Jesse and I vote that you continue because we think you're pretty great.
Sure. Sure. I don't know. This is his shtick. And he does it for clicks. And also he's getting fat. I saw the comments.
Getting fat.
All right,
Hey, fuck you.
Let's
Hey,
not fat shame
fuck you.
people.
I've been this way for a few years now. There's no getting anything. I am. Like,
Yo, if you're making comments about people's weight now, you can just go to hell. Like, honestly, you're such a loser.
hey, my back feels better than it has in like 6 months.
Fantastic. That's
I
great.
do work out.
You've been doing your stretches?
Food's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing my stretches, got my lacrosse ball, my so right.
Do you have the garbage can in your garage to lay your back out over?
Like
No,
in The
I ended
Simpsons?
up-
Yeah.
No, I sold that on Facebook Marketplace. Made a pretty penny. How do you think I paid for all these beautiful toys on the wall? Figures. How do you think I paid for all those
Steve,
things?
Just to your point about regular season success, one of my favorite stats that I always remember when if you're ever getting worked up about a regular season game is the team in the 4 major leagues, the teams who have finished with the best record ever in the regular season have never won the championship of that league. So the Golden State Warriors, they had that 73 win season. They lost in the finals to the Cavs. The New England Patriots, they went 17-0. They lost to the New York Giants. The Tampa Bay Lightning set the record for most points in a season. They lost in the first round. What league am I missing? Baseball. The Seattle Mariners set the record for most wins in a regular season. They lost, I think, to the Yankees in the ALCS. So regular season success is just not. It's not relevant to playoff success in most cases, especially at the top ends. So take it easy on the Leafs.
Yeah.
They'll show up for the playoffs, hopefully. Hopefully everyone's clear and healthy by then, and we'll see how it goes.
And to
Jesse,
be clear, we can't guarantee that, but I don't think it means necessarily that they won't show up.
Yeah.
Which is what you're proposing.
Right.
So Jesse made a great evidence based argument. And because of that argument, I don't have to do a video after every game. Regular
Okay.
season doesn't matter.
No,
That
What?
is
What?
logic
That's what
and
you
reason.
just
it's
told
not
me.
that it doesn't matter because you still need to play the regular season to determine standings and you see where the team's at. And it's like, okay, the Leafs have looked good. They've looked great this season. They're in first place. Every single game mattered to get them to that place in first place where you run into the playoffs and you get to face this other team who's going to rank 4th in the division. So all of that mattered because it led to this place, which leads to next place, which leads to a Stanley Cup. All of it is just a journey along the line to the road to the cup.
I mean,
All of it matters, Steve.
the Leafs are doing a great job setting up this DVD.
This Amazon doc is going to be hella interesting.
It's going to be great.
Oh,
Wait. Plus all the Joe Thornton shirtless content, please.
Pantsless.
Pantsless too.
Pantsless content.
just that little clip is why he's still in the lineup, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You can't scratch that.
Fourth line,
Imagine
8
scratching
minutes,
that.
doesn't matter.
Who
Get him
cares?
Imagine
in
scratching that with Engvall still in the lineup. Shut up, Pierre. Oh, he's still getting traded. That guy's still
Pierre
getting
Engvall?
traded. Oh my God.
Buy
They're
him
gonna
out.
send him to the moon in the summer.
Oh yeah, dude. Okay, so here's what I don't understand about the Leafs, and this is a legitimate beef. It clearly didn't work with Cody Ceci and Morgan Riley last year, but they kept him there.
Good now.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Sure, he's real good. I still don't believe that.
Ask
I
any Pittsburgh fan.
don't think I would have hated him if he A, wasn't on the first pair, B, didn't make $4.5 million.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably true. If he was playing if he was playing Zach Bogosian minutes, you probably don't hate it.
For
Yeah.
$7.25.
Like, imagine they
taken
ran
every day.
Bogosian out there 23 minutes a night.
First
we'd
line.
hate Zach Bogosian.
Yeah.
No, we would hate him with a fiery passion.
Yeah,
But
and I like Zach Bogosian a lot.
he's been in the exact same spot all season long, and all of us are like, please re-sign him.
100%.
Can we keep him for the exact same deal? I would do that.
100%.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Well, so what I don't understand with the Leafs, and this is a Keith Dubas question, if I could have, if my one legitimate concern / beef with them is that when something isn't working, they clearly say, no, it is.
What's that?
And we're going to keep doing it. Well, Pierre Engvall just doesn't work. It's not working. So
I thought
why are we playing with this?
I thought you were going with I think part of the reason, by the way, he was in the lineup is they had to be as close to the cap as possible.
Okay.
So
Also,
I wonder if that was part of it.
A healthy lineup, Engvall doesn't make it.
No,
Like, he's
not
not-
even close.
he's
because
not-
they're not healthy tonight.
Yeah.
And unless Mikheyev's out of the lineup, there's no shot.
No.
It's Brooks. And like once Swomella gets here,
Even
Nason,
when Hyman comes back, like
Hyman, Riley Nash. Oh my God, it's a shame the Growlers aren't playing this year. Like I never thought him getting that far out of the lineup, but holy mackerel.
It seems like it's listen, and I don't
Where
want
was
to
I going
rag on
with
him.
that? Oh, I
personally.
remember.
It seems like it's a confidence thing because he has
Yeah.
the tools, right?
It's the thinking speed, right? Like you know how we talked about this tweet. I think it was Reese Jessup said Mason Marchment is a good hockey player trapped in a bad hockey player's body.
Yeah.
Engvall is the opposite. I feel like if Pierre Engvall had Mason Marchment's head, he'd be fine, and it would look ridiculous on that neck. But you know what I mean? What I thought you were going to talk about is something that I legitimately should have discussed over the past couple LFR videos. Keith randomly just deciding, I'm going to screw up the defensive pairs for the first time all season long. And Riley Hall and Brody Muzzin. I don't know how I feel about it. What do you
I think you
guys
got to give it more than a couple periods too, to really like. I know the whole thing in sports broadcasting for us and for everybody is we'll make an instant reaction to it. But I kind of think first off, I didn't know that there was anything wrong with the defense, so I didn't quite understand that. But I also when I saw that, maybe it's getting a little stale.
Yeah.
But I also wondered, like, listen, this could happen in the playoffs, right? Probably one of those four is going to go down at one point for an injury, couple games here and there. You got to start mixing and matching just to get a sense of what it's like to play with this person.
Zach Bogosian is made of adamantium.
Yeah.
How did that guy I gasped when he stood up after that collision in the end boards?
Crazy.
And they're like upper body injury. I'm like, upper? What? I just watched his entire body flail around like an octopus.
Mm-hmm.
What? Upper? It sounds like he's barely going to miss any time. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. That imagine getting in a net front battle with that dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I wouldn't want to.
That dude, he can't even beat himself up. That was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that he got up from that. And now, like, Dermot Sandine, they got an interesting opportunity. I'm excited for this part of the season, the lab. You know what I mean? I do like the lab.
What did you just say?
I'm excited for this part of the season, the lab.
I'm what?
The lab.
No. What are you saying?
Excited for this part of the season.
Stop there. Say it again.
I'm excited for this part of the season.
Say it again and with a smile.
I'm excited for this part of the regular season that doesn't matter.
And my name is Steve Dangle.
And my name is Steve Glynn, but no one knows who the fuck that is. So it's Steve Dangle.
This is going on Instagram later. I'm just throwing that out there. That clip, we're clipping that.
Sure. No, okay. I like the lab. I do. But there was something about losing to the Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and did you see how readily I was like, I'm excited to see them experiment with this and that and the other, because the Jets are a legitimate test. Whereas, like forget the lab, like the Canucks mini series there, that's a whole science experiment. Like the prerequisite for those games beginning and ending was the Leafs would outplay them.
Yes.
So everyone's like, hey, what? They outplayed them. Yeah, of course. But like I was talking to people, I'm like, the Leafs should get the score to like 4-0 by the end of the second and just shut it down. Don't embarrass anyone. And they lost both times. That's wild. And everyone's pointing at the scoring chances and the save percentage. I'm like, they cannot make a save.
All right.
And they need saves. And again, the regression to the better numbers, I understand that. But the context of the injuries involved make me concerned. And that's legitimate.
There was a couple things I saw about Dave Riddick's game and the way he plays goaltender and the way the Leafs play defense and like their defensive formations. And like, well, yeah, and it just doesn't mix. Like a lot of it was he's not very good at high danger shots and especially shots that are screened. So those are just holes in his game. And a lot of that doesn't lend well to the way the Leafs play defense. And there are a lot of just cracks. And it doesn't seem like Dave Riddick as a goalie meshes with the Leafs system. So I don't know how you change that, but it just the first 3 games now hasn't really worked.
3. I think you change the D pairs. Maybe that's part of the reason why they're doing that. But I also think that's grossly overthinking it. Like the Marner goal, Marner does a giveaway and he goes to play the puck. Like, okay, like that's a Leaf specific thing that you're not supposed to do that. Okay, and the goals he gave up in the last game against the Canucks were unscreened. It was a slap shot. He was square to it and just didn't seem ready, even though he was looking right at it. And I think there was another one that went right through him. And there was no screen in front of him.
The screening was just an example. Like I'm not calling out specific goals. I'm just saying a lot of like I was listening to Kevin Woodley. He writes for NHL.com. He's very knowledgeable about goalies. Extremely. He speaks a lot to the goalie coaches. Like he's good friends with the Leafs ones. And he was just saying how Dave Riddick's game and the way it was played in Calgary doesn't lend well to the Leafs defensive system. So there might just not be a mesh there.
I think it's
like oil and water.
I think it's something that could be true. That is also inapplicable to his struggles so far, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair.
Why?
Well, for the most part, I've been watching him and going, oh, man, I feel so comfortable with this guy in that he's big. I like the way that he battles and he's proactive. There was a situation, I can't even remember who it was against. Maybe it was the Flames. An attacker was behind the net, and there was an attacker in front unguarded. All the guy behind the net had to do was pass to the attacker. Riddick sticks out his stick and blocks off the pass. And I'm like, I'm trying to think of the last time I saw a Leafs goalie do that. And it's something so simple, right? Yep. And I like the way he snags pucks through traffic. I actually thought he was really good at with his glove. The way he doesn't direct, makes saves with his pads and doesn't direct them right into the slot for a rebound. He's good at angling them. To me, what he struggled with is the shots that he's face point blank.
Yeah.
He's been great at everything else.
As Jesse said, not good high danger.
Right. So not good at his job is what is how I interpret that.
I mean, that's why you gave up like a third for him, right? Not that that's nothing, but especially in this draft, it's like.
I mean, everyone's talking about that like it's the sun and the moon. It's all. Dave Riddick could be a bag of shit as a Leaf, and I'll defend that trade.
For sure, it was the right thing to do, and they didn't give up much. And who cares about this draft? Honestly, like
they needed a goalie.
It would be an incredible draft, but most of these kids haven't played in a year.
Yeah. So, something can be the right thing to do in the moment, and then the result just doesn't work.
Right, and it's still 10 games left. Like he's played 2 games. Can we back it off? And I know, listen, hot take central over here. I get it. But like, relax, okay, everybody. Like, it's enough. Yeah. If he sucks after 5, okay, we see a trend developing. It's been 2 games, and frankly, the Leafs haven't been at their best, and they haven't been healthy. They're not going to be that healthy in the playoffs. But if everything goes to plan, Freddie's back, Jack Campbell gets a little bit of time to relax before the playoffs. Dave Riddick isn't even dressing. And
if everything goes
on waivers by New Jersey, so it's just it's ridiculous, and I think we got to just kind of back off on that a little bit. And listen, here's what I will say: his 5-game stretch, .839 is the save percentage according to James Myrtle, and I trust him. What are the chances that doesn't regress to the mean, to the average?
This is the thing. I don't know, because if Campbell is hurt. This is what's given me comfort over the last 24 hours is Keefe going, I can't remember if he said this last night or this morning. He basically goes, we're going with Jack against Winnipeg because he was great the last time we played them, and we expect him to be.
Well, that's what he said in the media.
Yeah, but he didn't have to. You know what I mean? And to me, that suggests I got faith in this goaltender, and he's healthy. Right? He seems like a very frustrated coach right now because all their problems seem to be between the ears. The power play, and they finally got one. Like, and I know losing in the midst of all that is probably going to hurt their confidence, but you got one. Your first one.
They got one the game before.
No. Really? This was their first power play goal that wasn't on a 5-minute power play or without giving up a shorthanded goal in 47 attempts, I think it was.
Well, you're canceling out 2 power play goals.
I mean, important asterisk. Allowing a shorthanded goal. You can't score a power play goal after allowing a shorthanded goal and go, fuck yeah, we're killers out there. You're not allowed. You don't get to.
I mean, that's fair. I agree with that. I do. The
5-minute one, I'm with you.
I do want to say this. I think the reality is even Dave Riddick is not going to be performing at an .839. Otherwise, he will not have a job at next year.
All 5 of our Czech listeners, it's Riddick. They're going to yell at you.
Well, it's going to be Riddick from now on. So
they're going to yell at you with a bunch of and whatever they're called.
What is that alphabet? Is it it's not the Russian one. They
don't have Cyrillic.
No, they don't.
It's Latin,
it's the other.
Isn't it?
Is it Latin?
I don't know. We're just dumb. We're just dumb people.
I don't know. Study languages.
It's not punctuation corner.
I don't know. If I want to learn a language, I'll use Babbel.
I would too. And
you know what? Adam, read the line. Read the line.
I would use the promo code STP for right now. You can do 15 minutes, just 15-minute lessons. You can learn how to speak a whole language. And you can worry about conjugating. Anyway, the whole thing is this: the Leafs have shown us through 41 games, give or take, what they are. The last 5 games do not a season make, and I think I understand the worry. I get it. And I'm with you. I think you have every right to be concerned, but to be dejected is like, I understand the instant reaction after a game. You're like, fuck, that really drove me crazy. Damn it. But then, 48 hours goes by and you go, okay, let's even out a little bit here.
Yeah.
Well, now, if the next 5 games go like the last 5 did, meaning more injuries, which sucks, Willie showing up late for practice after we said he couldn't get benched. Thanks, Willie.
He didn't.
He didn't, and he played great.
Yeah, there you go. Best player on the ice last night.
He was great. He's had a great couple of games. Thank God.
That was another little victory for Sheldon because they were like, "Oh, you putting him in the lineup?" And he's like, "I don't know. We'll see." You better play your bag off.
Yeah, and he did. He was great.
And he did.
Shows you what Willie can be if he's focused. Small businesses are grappling with the impact of these uncertain times and looking for resources. That's why, for the second year in a row, Dell Technologies is assembling an all-star lineup of podcasters to create the first ever virtual conference to share advice and inspiration for small businesses of all kinds. Dell Technologies is here to help safeguard your business with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro to provide relevant content for your business's success. Search Dell Technologies Small Business Podference on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Odyssey.com starting May 10th. Okay, so here's what we say.
Dialed
Last 5 games stunk and it was bad. And you don't want 5 games in a row like that in the playoffs or you're fucked. You're out. But I think we look at the next 5 games and go, okay, on balance, how are we looking for this 10-game stretch? And then the last 5 games of the season after that, because there's only 10 left, are sort of maintenance games, tweaking this, doing that. Hopefully you win the division, but really, even if Winnipeg wins it, it's like, okay, like whatever. That cannot be your focus. You want to win. You want to win games. That should be your focus, is winning games and winning the right way. But that's about it from here on out. And I'm not going to take a team that exploded out of the gate this season and has done nothing but win games. A couple stinkers against Ottawa and stuff. And I get that. I totally have seen that. But what team doesn't lose games? And it's never fun to see your team lose, guys. And the Leafs have a magnifying glass on them because they're in Toronto and a lot of Toronto hockey, a lot of media based out of Toronto, all that stuff. Just take the next 5 games and balance them out with the previous 5. If they suck, I'll stand corrected and go, there's something wrong here. But I just feel like 41 games, I'm going with that team rather than the last 5 games. That's just me.
I want to see Michael Hutchinson. I want to see Jack Campbell and Freddie Anderson get some time off together. And then you come back the last 5 games with those 2. And then you go into playoffs with that as your goalie tandem. I want to see Riddick and Hutchison for the next 5.
I want to see Marincin as well. Where's he been?
Yeah.
Okay. That's enough. That's enough. Draw the line. No one's drowning on my watch. No buoy. That's enough. You've gone too far. You've gone far too far. Where was I going to go with all that? So did you see Myrtle's little thingy in The Athletic about are the Leafs performing cap shenanigans?
Mm-hmm.
LTI?
I did not read it yet.
So it was basically about LTIR shenanigans. Number 1, he's absolutely right. They definitely are. And I think I'm willing to bet Freddie can play tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that, but that's the impression I'm getting. Number 2, Myrtle, don't be a narc. No one likes to snitch.
True. That's true.
Yeah. Everybody saw Matthews take those shots on Anderson after practice. Like Matthews hung around for the extra time, and your number 1 player usually doesn't do that. He took as much as shots as he wanted on Anderson during practice. Like he's probably healthy. Everyone
was talking about that shirtless pic of Thornton on rollerblades.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there was Matthews as well. And I'm like, are we going to talk about our injured starting goaltender out rollerblading?
You injured.
Like it feels like okay, listen, people are allowed to go live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should ask. I think you're allowed to ask some questions about that.
Nah, leave him alone.
Dude, your playoff hopes ride on that guy. And if he's hurt, athletes do, I don't know if it's all, but some athletes do have it written into their contract. Listen, you're not allowed to do stupid shit. And if you do stupid shit and you get hurt doing that stupid shit, they can take money away or XYZ.
Yes. And I think, God, I was trying to think of one that there were ones that were publicized. Like, I think, wasn't it, Jesse, in baseball, wasn't it Bronson Arroyo? They told him he couldn't perform in his band anymore because he kept staying up late and getting drunk and playing bars with his band when he was with the Red Sox.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
but that's baseball.
He's a good pitcher.
That's a health plan.
I know most NFL contracts, I think it's just standard across the league where you can't do most activities in the offseason.
Can't even have like a motorcycle.
Yeah, you're not allowed to just do things.
I had heard years ago that the Leafs wanted a certain player, like, listen, dude, we know you like longboarding, but can you not, on account of you're really important? And he was like, okay. And like, you just go to a certain part of the city and there he is being a dumbass.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember when the Raptors had Hito Turkoglu or whatever his name was, and it was like, oh my god, they signed him. It's crazy, and it turned out to be one of the worst signings in Raptors history. And the guy was a gigantic dick. But I remember when he was quote unquote injured, I was out in Yorkville in Toronto partying. I was at a club, and frankly, somebody who had way more money than I did was like, let's go to this club. And I said, are you getting us in? And he said, yep, because it wouldn't have been me. I was 21 and broke. And anyway, went to the club, and there he is. There's Haydu, and perfectly healthy and fine, getting completely slammed. So it was,
And there's healthy enough to club and healthy enough to rollerblade and healthy enough to face,
fair
60 vulcanized rubber slap shots from, the other team. I guess there are levels to it, and it's different.
There are, yeah.
But
there are levels of healthy.
Again, raised by an anxious Italian woman. I saw Freddie on his rollerblades, and I wanted him to wear a jacket.
Well, that's fair.
I wanted him to wear a jacket. Don't speed. No speed. None of that. Just drive safe. And by the way, like to be specific with the things that were making me sad, right? Outside of the Leafs.
Yeah, tell us.
I have this gorgeous 10-month-old son.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not been able to share him with the people I love, and with a lot of them. And my mom and sister had vaccine appointments for today, and they were canceled. And, you just find out news, and you're Ned Flanders walking around going, all right, Nedley diddly doodly, stay cool, Nedley diddly doodly. And then they lost to a team that hadn't played in a month, and I said, oh, hell diddly ding dong crap. I got mad. It was that episode, basically. Fucking sucks, man.
That sounds more like something that make you upset than the Leafs losing a regular season game.
Yeah.
That
Someone
makes sense.
today was like, I tweeted something about Doug Ford because he fucking sucks. And they were like, you should be doing a video about this instead of the first place Leafs winning a game. Yeah, all right, everyone. So we figured it out. That's what I'm going to convert my channel to. We're going to talk about the Ontario government instead of the Leafs.
You'll have tens of followers. It'll be great.
You know who made a video on the Ontario government?
Who?
One of our favorite people.
Who?
Alex Jones.
No.
Doug Ford for the lockdown on his press conference on Friday. He made InfoWars. I'm not gonna play the clip or anything. I'll send it to you guys after.
What did he say?
He called them a lot of names.
He called Doug Ford a lot of names. I thought they would be on the same side.
Nope. Alex Jones called because he's against like the lockdown stuff.
Oh,
so
the conservative cannibalism over all this has been hilarious. Yeah. Oh my god!
Because he turned into a military state in Canada and all this stuff, and he referenced a lot of the crack smoking of Rob Ford. Called Doug Ford a lot harsher words than buffoon. But yeah, Alex Jones went off on Doug Ford.
Now, listen,
I think is just wild.
The lockdown restrictions that were announced in Ontario, if you're not aware, were pretty aggressive. And then now imagine if you're in the States, a governor getting on TV and crying and saying, I'm sorry, and reversing everything they just done, especially if they're a Republican. Would never happen. But in Canada, it does. And basically, they closed everything that was outdoors, including playgrounds. And everybody was like, but COVID transmission outdoors is like less than 0.1%.
Doctors were like, we need harsher restrictions. And then, okay, cool. You can't go to the playground. And doctors like, what the fuck? We didn't tell you that.
Yeah, they did reverse the playground thing less than like 12 hours after it was announced.
And then they said police have the right to stop you at any time.
Right.
To ask you where you're going. And all the police departments in Ontario unanimously said, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, never seen that in my entire life.
And then the premier cried on television, said, I'm sorry for doing that.
Also, I think the cops knew, just as we all do, that that's illegal. You can't do that. And actually, the Toronto police tweeted out the law that says it's illegal. You can't do that. And so it's one of those things where when you look at the when you look at the restrictions as they stand, they make no sense because we're not clamping down on the things that are actually causing us trouble, which is manufacturing. A lot of our cases are coming from manufacturing. So on a local level, we've had to now pass laws that say if your business has a case and it's confirmed or 2 or more cases in 5 days, you're shut down for 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's
in 2 regions though, only in Ontario.
Peel and Toronto, which are the only regions that are really hugely problematic.
My neighborhood is plastered with anti-mask, anti-teacher propaganda.
Is it?
Gosh. Stickers all over the place. None of these people understand graphic design. None of them. They One thing I can tell you for sure from the internet is they don't know graphic design, and none of them know how to hold their phones.
Mm.
Every anti-masker video is, oh my God, get control of your fingers.
For as negative as everything is, and everybody is looking at the world,
Thank you for cutting me off, Jesse.
We must also look at the very positive things that Canada and Ontario are doing right now.
What have you?
Because Canada is vaccinating people at the 2nd highest rate out of any G20 country. So we've passed UK, we've passed Germany, we've passed France. We're the 2nd highest vaccination rate in the world right now.
It's a good.
Awesome.
It's been a good week.
Also, we've doubled the doses that are coming in May. So in May, we were supposed to get 400,000 doses a week. Now we're going to get 800,000 a week. That means by the end of June, so 8 weeks after those start arriving, there'll be 95% of the 16 plus population in the entire country will have the opportunity to get a single dose.
That's great.
Yeah.
We're almost there, people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like,
but nobody wants to hear those things because we're all kind of sad.
well, because it's been a very long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a fatigue to that.
Well, yeah, and you're right. But let me suggest that our grandparents are laughing at us right now. Okay? Not in a good way.
No, fuck that. I'm so sick of that. Adam, I'm so sick of that.
And he's right. Like
he's right, and fuck it.
Please state your no. Let him state his point.
Let me state my point. I'm not saying that you're not within your rights to complain. I think you absolutely are, without question.
Yes.
What I like to do, and this helps me, I'm not saying it has to help you. What I like to see sometimes is like, okay, so they got through that.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably figure this out.
Yes.
I've had my dark moments. I've had my upset moments. Mm-hmm. Steve, you've had, we talked yesterday a little bit. I didn't have mine on camera, but I had moments where I was like raging, like mad, like what the fuck, like, you know?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they got through that. We'll get through this sooner than you think. And here's a fun story. Once we get through it, it'll be the Stanley Cup Finals. It's going to be great.
I do remember a video. I think it was from 2003. Remember the blackout that affected
Yeah,
a little bit of
Eastern North America.
Eastern North America, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were without power for like 3 days. And I remember there was a news camera in like Iraq, and they asked the locals about it, and they were like, "Wow, 3 days.
That's okay.
3 days, huh? What if Adam can invoke the Second World War?"
no. It's just funny to think, right? Like
yesterday.
Yes, I know it could be worse, but it still sucks.
Yesterday, I dropped a glass on the floor and it shattered, and then there was a bombing in 1942, and I looked at that bombing and I said, "Wow, this glass really means nothing to that nuclear bomb."
Yeah, I spilled a glass of milk, and I remembered some. You know what? People have probably spilled more milk than this.
It's just remember contextually.
I'm on your side.
You can do it. Yeah. You can do it.
Yeah.
It sucks. I hate it. I'm in it with you. Mm-hmm. Bitch away, but just remember, you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and there's an end. This isn't endless.
Mm-hmm. And we'll continue creating content. Steve might not, but we will.
Is that a good segue into Robin Leonard?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. We're supposed to have a guest on in 9 minutes. Let's do Robin Leonard.
Let's do Robin Leonard.
I'll just tell him, sorry, tough shit. No, I'm kidding. I'll tell him wait a few minutes.
Okay. So the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday, they beat the San Jose Sharks in a shootout. Robin Lehner's in goal. They win it 3-2. Robin Lehner walks up to the podium after he walked the podium, which is just his Zoom call. And instead of taking questions, he talks for 11 minutes straight, just a stream of consciousness about mental health. And I don't know if you guys, do you want me to just play it and then you stop whenever you want? Because
I mean, listen, I'm down for whatever. But I think it's an 11-minute long thing. Do we want to just hit the highlights?
Because I know you love this.
Yeah, we can skip
Whatever
around if you want.
Jesse, you tell us. This is you.
All right, I'll start playing, and then you guys can chime in whenever. There's a couple points like I'll skip to, but yeah, just let me know when you want me to pause it if you want to weigh in.
Okay.
Well, another thing, I was going to address a couple of things here.
This is Robin.
Mm-hmm. This is Robin at the podium.
I feel like responsibility to say something here for myself and for other people throughout the league. And I understand that I will have haters and whatnot, no matter what stand on the subject I am on these things. But a month or so ago, when I got back from my concussion, we got approached to take the vaccine, and basically how that turned out was we were shown, guys, where the vaccine is available. If you take the vaccine, X amount of players, leaders in this team or around the league takes the vaccine, new set of rules are going to come out. We were shown the NBA protocols, promised the NBA protocols to get back some type of normalcy. And I understand my track record. I mean, I talk against COVID. COVID is dangerous, been crazy thing for everyone. But we were approached and promised things to change for our league if we got vaccinated. So after our second vaccination, 10 days after, we were going to start enjoying life again, because people don't really know. We've been in total isolation. We can't get out of our house. We can't go out of our hotel. We can't do anything. And it's been over a year now, and no one ever talks about the mental health impact about that stuff. And you guys might not have the statistics. I don't have the statistics. I just know people reach out to me throughout the league, throughout, normal people in all day life reach out to me, and I know, and I've seen the consequences of a lot of these things. And to be promised something's going to change, to take a vaccine, where some players were on the verge of even taking it. I was one of them that I wasn't sure, but I took it for my mental health. And when we did it, now they changed. Now they said it's not happening. I think that's wrong for first. But then I have a couple of calls with the league and with the NHLPA yesterday. And this is why I want to talk today, which makes me furious. And I don't care what happens to me or whatever people are going to do to me in the league or whatnot. I don't know. But they told me yesterday that they're surveying all the teams to see who has taken the vaccine and who has not taken the vaccines. And they're not going to change the rules for us as players until all the teams have have the vaccines at the same time. So it's not a competitive edge. And that made me go crazy, to be honest, because that shows me that now I've taken the vaccine, and it's been a tremendously hard time I speak for myself personally throughout this COVID thing with my mental health condition, being in isolation, getting these rules. I can't do anything by being in my home all the time, being in a hotel room all the time. And I talk to players around the league that calls me, and also people I've helped through the program and get help and all that stuff. I know more than a lot of people knows what's going on. And they're talking about competitive edge.
So from Justin Emerson, who
he covers the Vegas Golden Knights for the Las Vegas Sun. So he tweeted this comment from the NHL about Robin Lehner's remarks today from a league spokesman. Nobody from the league has communicated to any players or club that any of our COVID protocols would be relaxed for any player once he is vaccinated. On the contrary, we have recently reiterated that it is essential to remain vigilant as we head into the final stretch of the regular season and approach the Stanley Cup playoffs. So there was that. Just wanted to say, because so in the middle of him saying all this, the league is saying, no, we didn't, which doesn't line up.
In what way? Explain that one.
I don't think Robin Lehner's just making that up. Do you?
No.
If we're gonna take the side of, hey, who's lying here? I'm gonna side with the NHL is lying.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a carrot and stick thing. Like there's a lot of people that have a lot of weird shit to say about vaccines. And, there's a lot of misinformation about it. There's a lot of, the reality of vaccines is that it's very old technology. So people are like, I don't know what's in it. Actually, what's in it is on the side of the bottle. So you feel free to look that up or check it out. Beyond that, I think that they probably dangled that in front of the players to get them vaccinated as quickly as possible. Right. So like, hey, listen, if you do this, you never know. But the NHL is run by a lawyer. And the lawyer who runs the NHL would never commit to something. They would hint at something, but they'd never commit. And this is where Robin goes wrong. And I don't blame him. But Robin, you're going to trust that the NHL is going to commit to something that they didn't put in writing and sign? Come on. Or that
we're making some assumptions here.
Is going to, dude, he just said they were shown the protocols of the NBA.
Yeah. So just for context, the NBA and MLB announced that when 85% of their league is vaccinated, they dropped all the harsh COVID protocols.
And it's easy for them to do because there's one MLB franchise in Canada and it's not in Canada right now. And there's one NBA franchise in Canada and it's not in Canada right now. Until Canadians en masse are able to get a full vaccine, you're not going to get 85% of the league. You're just not. You're not.
It's quite the intricate lie. You know what I mean?
It's a tease.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying from Lehner. Like there are too many details to this lie for me to not think it's at least partially true. And
remember that it may not be a lie in the sense that the NHL is like, we know what, guys, we're going to deceive the players and I can't wait. It's going to be super fun. Right. Psych, bitches. It wasn't like that. This is perspective. You know what I mean? This is the NHL goes, well, we did this, but we never said. And Robbins goes, well, you did this and you said. It's perspective. Now, I do think Robin makes a really, really good point. First off, I don't blame him for being fooled, by the way. This is not the first time this league has done this.
No.
So 100%, I'm on his side here. The other thing is, and we have not acknowledged this, frankly, is the enormous mental health society-wide crisis that we have on our hands. You think COVID's bad. Get ready. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Now, I get it. Solve one problem at a time. But Robin is absolutely right when he says this is tremendously damaging. And for somebody like him who is, forgive me, bipolar,
yeah,
and had substance abuse issues,
I think in the past, yeah.
From what we understand, being alone for a year is just about the worst thing that you can do. And I understand the whole the protocols that we've put into place. But the reality is these protocols were not meant to be in place long term. It was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And this is the best we can do. And it will raise questions after this is all over of what can we do next time so that people aren't in isolation for this long, right? It's not that we could have done any better than we are, although I think we could have. It's next time there's a pandemic, what's the plan? What do we do? How do we handle this? And how do we mitigate the effects of alcohol, drug, spousal abuse, and mental health crisis that we're seeing right now? Because it's endemic. It's enormous. and nobody's giving any oxygen to these places. But ask a women's shelter how they're doing right now. Ask therapists en masse how their clients are doing right now. Alcohol sales are through the roof. That's not a mistake. And I think, Robin deserves, he may have, I don't know if he walked back any of these comments. He probably did, because that's the NHL's culture.
Yeah, he released a couple tweets about. He apologizes for calling the hotel rooms a prison. He apologized for that specifically, but it's a shame that anybody, because like I said, he talks for 11 minutes and he goes on to say, he talked about his mental health personally and his bipolar disease, which he's not supposed to be in a room by himself. And he's been in a room by himself for a year and a half.
Do you want to play it? Should we play it?
We've covered the gist of it, but yeah. So, but it's a shame to me that anybody when somebody talks for a stream of consciousness for 11 minutes, you focus on one word that he says in there. Like that's a real shame.
That's the Twitter generation. Right?
But that's such a shame that people have those reactions to that. So I'm going to read his tweets here. He said, "As I'm frustrated like a lot of people in the world right now, everything didn't come out of today's press in the right way. Main point is that we need to start taking the mental health important as well in this situation." English isn't the best. "It has a huge impact on everyone in society right now. But this missed the mark. My bad to say it's like prison, and I apologize, but with mental health issues that is developing in the world, it develops problems mentally. We will see exactly how this affects everything with time. I don't mean to offend anyone. I hope we can all work together to help people that suffers through mental health from this going forward. I've heard how a lot of people are doing through this as people talk to me about it." And I think that was the whole point he was trying to get across. Yeah. He's like, he thought that some things would be eased and life would be a little easier once everybody's taking the vaccine, and that didn't happen. So he just wants to draw attention to that. People are struggling right now.
Well, and let's this is a bad comparison because it's in no way as
maybe you shouldn't make it.
Well, no, it's in no way as important as what Robin was saying. It's not a fair comparison. What I'm about to say is a sack of shit, and you shouldn't listen to it. When we did the Super League discussion on the last show, I was inundated with a bunch of very passionate football fans who said, some were really nice and really cool about it. Others were just dickheads. You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Which I think we said many times.
Well, and this is the thing. I went back and I watched the show and I said, I have not heard this full story. Can you explain what's going on?
And I just read an article.
So we were just sort of yapping and like learning it as we go.
Literally as we talk.
And then it's like, how did you not know down to the final comma? Maybe you should stick to sports.
I think we prefaced the entire conversation by saying, "Hey, we don't know what's going on, so we're just going to read this thing and talk about it."
But so with Robin, here's a human being, imperfect, giving you an impassioned plea about the fact that he is not doing well and a bunch of people are not doing well. And if you're listening to this, you probably can relate. There's probably been times in the last year where you have not been doing well. I 100% can guarantee I have. And so picking apart the statement doesn't make you cool, doesn't make you smart, makes you contrarian, which is about the laziest thing you can be. Robin Lehner had and made some good points there. And what he didn't address in the in the apology tweets, quote unquote, is what the NHL did. And that's where my curiosity is what did the NHL tell the players before the season started that has since changed? Because that's the part he hasn't addressed. We don't know.
I think that's
it seems as though he's standing behind that, right?
That's why he hasn't been fined.
Steve, that's I think that's the key right there. Because if Robin Lehner, if somebody from the league didn't say to Robin Lehner what he's alleging they said, then he would have been fined for it, and they would have said specifically like, "Hey, this isn't true, and here's a fine."
Now, here's what's fair. If you're the league and say, "Well, Robin, listen, it didn't unfold the way we thought it would. It's been 100 years since we've had one of these. We had to change protocol." Yeah. But you have to come out and say that.
Yeah.
No.
Or not.
So the NHL, they don't admit faults. They don't.
Right. Because they don't have to admit fault. If you don't commit to anything, you don't have to admit anything.
Right.
They put an unbelievably small effort into their own image. This league. They do. Like even in the wake of the George Floyd verdict and everything, their statement.
They can't even mention the guy's name.
Like, oh my God, did you stay up all night writing that?
Right? That happened in between like our last episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't talked about that.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't mention the name, did they?
Or anything.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a real shame, this league.
And who's shocked?
Right.
Who's shocked?
But here's the thing: when you have, they've got a head of diversity at the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
When you have one person at the executive level who understands and everybody else doesn't, these are the results you get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what you get. That's what it is.
Do you guys want to set up our next guest, Josh?
I guess we should, eh?
We do. And you're probably, if you're an anti-vaxxer, you're going to fucking hate this. It's so great. So in Canada, we have an issue with supply of vaccine, right? We are able to vaccinate people quickly. We just don't have enough of them. And so our next guest is the head of, or one of the founders of one of the best Twitter accounts that you can follow in Canada right now. And it's a national Twitter account. Got, I think, over 130 or 140,000 followers. And it is at Vax Hunters Canada. And across the country in both languages, both official languages, they will tell you where in your area you can get a vaccine, what's available, what's open. Because for a lot of times, and again, Americans will not be able to relate to this, but we have a lot of extra AstraZeneca, and a lot of it was just going to waste because people over 55 were like, you told us we couldn't take it last week, and now it's okay? And so a lot
vaccine shopping, they're calling it.
100%. I'm going to wait for Moderna. I'm going to wait for Pfizer. Well, they're not. It's not a Gucci purse. You should just get the vaccine. Stay out of the hospital is the point. Right. But anyway, long story short, Vax Hunters Canada at Vax Hunters Can, follow them, can help you get a vaccine before you maybe could have before, which is really great.
And if you speak Klingon, they're working on that as well, a Klingon division of their account.
Third Canadian language. So we're bringing them on, right?
Yes.
Flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, and it's time to chop the weeds. Thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped, you can trim your holes safely and efficiently. I am talking about ball trimmers. Manscaped, the global leaders in men below the waist grooming, have an exclusive offer for our audience. Use the code SDP to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Join the other 2 million men who trust Manscaped. They are here to make sure that you are trimmed and smelling nice. After all, it's time for that spring cleaning. Now, Manscaped, as you know, global leaders in below the waist grooming. And we're talking about things like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. Very important if you're someone like me and you run hot and it's getting into the hot season. And as you know, things can happen. They get stuck places you don't want them to get stuck is what I'm trying to say. The Crop Preserver preserves the crop. You'll also like the Crop Reviver. It's a toner for that area, which will keep you smelling fresh, just like spring flowers. Now, we want you to smell good this spring. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SDP at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor. Use the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SDP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code SDP at manscaped.com. It's spring cleaning, baby, and your balls will thank you. Before we get started on Vax Hunters Canada, which, by the way, what an incredible idea, and thank you for doing that. Woo! Seriously, that was it's incredible, and we want to talk about this. Yeah. So we had a whole discussion at the beginning of the show about Steve wanting to back off doing LFRs after every Leaf game. Are you for or against that?
I think Steve should do it, but maybe take the blood pressure level down from a 50 to a 10, because I think Leo, when he gets a little older, is going to be worried about his dad's blood pressure.
Well, then it's passed down. Generation to generation. Sorry, Gare. Sorry.
So, Joshua Kaplan, Vaccine Hunters Canada. Can you tell us where this idea came from and how you guys did all this? This is incredible.
Yeah. So I didn't actually create it. The guy that made it, his name's Andrew. He likes to keep a low profile. I've been told he will do candid interviews when this is all over with, and you can figure out who he is. But he really started where I think like all of us have been, which is trying to get like an appointment for like a loved one or a family member or something like that. And so he was able to get his dad an appointment at Sunnybrook Hospital. And then he's like, this is hard. And like he's a web developer. I'm a software developer. It's not easy. So he found this website in the States called vaccinehunter.org and was like, why don't we just do this for Canada? And basically that's where it got started. So we have vaccinehunters.ca. We have the Twitter account, VaxHuntersCan, which I think most people that know about us have heard about. We use Discord, which is like a chat tool, kind of like Slack or other things that people have used at work for our community. And now we have a Facebook page, and really that's where it's become. It's now like a vaccine awareness, I guess, community group, and it's gotten bigger than we could ever think. Yeah, it's
crazy,
insane.
So this isn't like rubbing a genie's lamp, right? Like you can't make people eligible for the vaccine that are not.
No, the most important thing for everyone to keep in mind with what we're doing is if you're not eligible, we're not going to help you. Like what we will help you, but like we can't. I'm not a doctor. I don't have the powers that be to change eligibility requirements or things like that. If you're not eligible, you're not eligible. And if you try to scam your way into being vaccinated, you're gone. Like we have zero tolerance for that shit. I can swear, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Good. Yeah, we have zero tolerance for shit like that.
Yeah.
Our community has grown so quickly. We have like 20,000 people on Discord that we have zero tolerance for bullshit at this point. Like zero tolerance. So like I just banned someone for mouthing off to one of our mods for like being scummy. Like we just don't tolerate any of that crap.
Is your community, because from my like anecdotal evidence on how I've been using it, my sister, she lives in one of the hot zones, so I've just been checking the Twitter account mainly and been like, hey, here's the link, Michelle, go try and get an appointment there, blah blah. Is your community mainly younger people trying to get it for older generations? Because like, hey, we're the ones on the computers all the time, we're trying to get the people 55 plus or the people in the hot zones who don't know how to access the internet as well as we do, and trying to get them appointments?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people, in hot zones that are looking for appointments themselves. Like there was 2 pop-ups today in Scarborough. I know everything by the first 3 postal code digits. Like I live that right now. So I think Oak Ridges and Woburn were the 2 areas. And like a lot of those people were younger. And just as like a tidbit, like we have contacts now at basically every health partner in the city of Toronto and the city itself and Peel. So we defer to the clinics on how to advertise these things. But basically when we hear about them, we're like, hey, you should go, but you need to bring we want granny pictures. Like show me a picture of you taking your grandmother to go get vaccinated.
Right.
But I would say the community does skew younger, but we see people of all ages. We get emails from seniors all day. Like I'm like 70 years old. I live in Peterborough. I have COPD. I have no idea what to do. And it skews a little younger though. I will say, like we're the internet generation, right? Millennials, like that's us.
How would you describe Ontario's vaccine rollout?
Our group, I'm going to give you a bit of a non-answer. Our group doesn't take political stances, but
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that,
I meant the system to get a vaccine. I don't mean like, True Dog or anything like that.
No, we wouldn't ask you to do that.
Oh yeah. I think it speaks for itself is all I'm going to say.
Fair enough.
I think that there's a lot of different ways to get vaccinated. And I would say that a regional approach is the right approach, right? We're all based in the GTA talking here right now, but what works here doesn't work in Timmins or in the Yukon for Canada, or even different parts of the US for the US listeners. Like Canada's a really big country and not that dense. So a regional approach does make sense, but it is a little chaotic.
What's the feedback been from people who have reached out to you guys? But I'm also curious about if you've heard any feedbacks from the clinics that you're directing people to.
I'll start with the clinics. So the clinics, we caused a little bit of mayhem this week. And that's kind of what kicked off this partnership with the city of Toronto and Toronto, like Team Toronto, if you've heard that term, which is like the combination of the city and the health partners, where we heard 5 different things of the eligibility at this clinic at Driftwood Community Center. For those, that's Jane and Finch. It's probably one of the worst hit parts of the entire city of Toronto, for anyone not from Toronto. And they were like, we need to not have this happen again. So we listen to the clinics a lot about our messaging. We actually have a color system with them now, which is green means we're just going to hype it up like mad. Yellow means that we won't until they tell us to. And red means we're like nothing. No comms, no nothing. Yeah. So example for red is like underhoused and homeless people have very specific clinics. We don't want people being scumbags and showing up there. Yeah. Yes, it happens. But so that's the feedback we get from like the clinics. They love us though. Like in terms of advertising and helping fill slots, we've done like amazing job at that. We just have to be really careful with a lot of these like mobile clinics that people need to keep in mind. If there's a clinic in a specific area, it is there for a reason. It's for the people of that area. That area is hard hit, or it has a lot of recent immigrants or things like that. And if our organization, you're like, why isn't this clinic being advertised? There's a reason for it. Because we've been asked to not send half the city there because people just show up even if they're not eligible. The feedback from people, though, it's I don't even know how to describe it. I think I was on CTV National News. I described it as when like Crosby scored the golden goal was like what it was on Twitter on Sunday night with the Gen X crowd. Like it exploded. Like I cannot stress enough. Like we have a pulse on the nation here. People are terrified. Like you hear the doctors saying that people are scared, and giving them vaccines and giving them access to that. It's like they become a new person again. It's like they feel like there's some certainty that they're going to be protected or be able to protect their families. We're in a really bad situation here in Ontario, like and lots of Canada, and this is the way out that everybody can do besides being a hermit.
How do you combat vaccine shopping?
So we have a policy of no vaccine shopping. Our forums, if you try to do that, and you're warned, and you're banned. But we do have a huge group of medical experts on there that are answering questions constantly for people.
Amazing.
And basically like with concerns and whatever, but like there's always going to be people that would rather sit outside in the freezing cold in a dark, unlit parking lot to get Pfizer or Moderna instead of just going to the pharmacy down the street and getting whatever's available. I would say to anyone combating vaccine hesitancy right now, especially around AstraZeneca, the best lines that we've found are, I will leave you alone if you call your doctor and then make a decision on this. Because if someone, like people just read the news and they look at Facebook and people are like, oh, I can't see my doctor in person. No, just call them. It's so easy to do. And if you have concerns, you should talk to someone that knows your medical history, especially if you have chronic conditions. Like really.
You make it seem you simplify it so much. It's wonderful.
Oh, I know. I know. It's kind of wild, but like it's really that simple. Like you should talk to medical people that know your medical history. Like you can't just ask some random nurse on the internet that's helping answer questions on our forums. Like you need to talk to your own doctor. And if you don't have a doctor, then walk-in clinics, pharmacists, those types of people can all help you too.
Josh, I don't know if this is overstepping, but are you guys taking like monetary donations so people can compensate like the heads of you guys who run in this website and the Discord chat for your time? Like, because I think so many people appreciate what you guys are doing for Patreon? The world and in Ontario.
We haven't taken a single dollar. I have a full-time job. I work as a software developer. Most of our team does. I'll be frank, I don't need the money. I moved back to Toronto 3 months before this pandemic hit, like November, basically before the pandemic started, so like 4 months. I have not been able to experience my own city. I want this to be over, and I want to be able to actually enjoy Toronto and this country again, because that's why I moved back. Like we people have said, can we give you money? Like, if we need it at some point, then we'll put up a thing and say, like, here's what it's going to go to. But for now, if you want to give us money, give it to frontline health workers, give it to hospitals, sponsor the Crown segment. Like, let's the Crown segment. Like, really, like, let's just donate to your local hospital for the Crown segment. Let's book it up for the rest of the year. Let's do that. If you love what we're doing, book up the Crown segment for the rest of the year with hospital donations. Like, that's the best thing you could be doing right now. I'm just sitting at a computer posting updates and talking to people on the phone all day. And the people doing the like dangerous work are nurses, doctors, people in the hospitals. Like, I know if we have to see Dr. Warner go on TV again looking like he's broken, it's just gonna like break our hearts. So help them. If you have any friends and family that are that, see if they need food. Check in on everyone, really.
Just call people.
Call people. See if they need help getting their vaccine done. Like, even for anyone around the world, if you are listening to this and you have a vaccine rollout happening, call your loved friends, family, everyone. This is a great chance to reconnect with people, being like, hey, how are you doing? Just want to make sure that your family was able to get vaccinated. And like, that's how we're going to do this. Like, you can say all you want about the local, federal, provincial government. Like, we saw that when vaccine is available and people want it, the appointments are going to get filled regardless of what happens. So we just need to make sure those people that are most vulnerable get those vaccines.
Joshua Kalpin, Vax Hunters Canada, one of the guys working on it. And what do you have a title in this group? Like, what do I call you? Like, what do I say that you do?
I think you call him Joshua Kaplan first.
No, it's Kalpin.
Is it Kalpin?
It's
Kalpin.
Kalpin.
I'm a dick.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, Josh. I think I called you that earlier too, and then I was like,
I can't.
You called him that because that's what I told you.
I can't tell you how many times my last name has literally been misspelled about 400 different ways at this point in the media, and it's like, reporter, hey, it's not Kipling. It's Kalpin. Yeah, but you can, we call ourselves the core team. My specific area, I don't have a title. My specific areas I primarily deal with, I'm kind of like the primary spokesperson. I deal with our external relations with our healthcare partners and other things like that. So City of Toronto, Toronto Health, Team Toronto, Peel Region, hopefully York will get on board. And really just focusing on messaging and different initiatives. But the four of us on the team, myself, Andrew, Sabrina, and Jonathan, we all kind of handle a different area, and we kind of have people not report to us, but like, we kind of try and divide and conquer as much as we can.
Before we wrap up, I do want to ask you, the Leafs have been on a bit of a skid the last 5 games. Are you giving up?
On the Leafs or in general? Because the Jays the Jays aren't doing much better either right now.
No, they're not. They're not.
I've given up on the Raptors for this season.
They're gonna make the play-in game. How dare you?
There's hope, and then there's like giving yourself a medical condition from like hoping too much.
Pointed.
Yeah. I'm all in on the Leafs. This is the best team I have seen since the Sundin era. I remember 99, even though I was like 5 years old, very vividly. I remember 2003, the Carolina Dream that shattered the Leafs dream. Mm-hmm. I think if the goaltending can figure itself out, this team is this is the best chance we've had in a very, very long time. The Jays still hoping, but the Leafs, I I as long as Jack and Freddie and Big Save Dave are good, I think, yeah, like they're gonna make a run.
Josh Calvin, Vax Hunters Canada, at Vax Hunters Can on Twitter. Thank you so much for, and thank you to your team for the incredible work that you guys are doing every day on your spare time. Unbelievable. And I hope we as a society find some way to thank you guys for the work you've done. I know that you wouldn't want that, but
Adam,
pretty incredible work.
He said he doesn't need the money. Look, I have the same lamp over his left shoulder. It's from IKEA.
Yeah.
Big money.
All I'd say is I'd love to grab a beer with you guys when this is all over. That would be
just one.
That would be maybe multiple.
How about our first live show? We bring you up on stage in front of everybody too. I think
that would be great. Yeah. I already got to figure out how to get beer with Dr. Bogosh. So
that's our boy Isaac.
Love Isaac. Yeah.
So
do we all want a pint of Johnson & Johnson or AstraZeneca? What are we doing?
Just chug it down. Let's go. I don't care what it is.
You take the best beer you can, the first and best beer you can get.
There it is.
Whatever they put in the glass.
Unless it's an IPA, then
Thank you.
That's Moderna. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, IPAs are gross most of the time.
They're awful.
Yeah, Josh, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
This has been an honor. I could not even believe that I'm on this. I seriously can't.
Well, us too. But we can't believe you're making time for us.
Anytime. You want to have me back? Let me know. Anytime.
Okay,
I'll try and bring a juicy tidbit like CJ does.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. But, we had to give it up because we realized it was full of sugar and junk that you really shouldn't eat. Been trying to cut down on my carbs, sugar, unhealthy food. I can't eat all that stuff anymore. But with the new year and summer upon us, we're trying to eat a little bit better. Healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. And that's why you should check out Magic Spoon. It's got all the amazing flavors you love without all the bad stuff. We're talking about 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs for each serving. Only 140 calories per serving. It's keto friendly. It's gluten free. It's grain free. It's soy free. It's low carb, and it's GMO free. Variety packs include 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. How do you not love that? Come on. So check out magicspoon.com/SDP to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SDP at checkout to save $5 off your first order. And Magic Spoon is confident in their product. So confident, in fact, it's backed by the 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember, you get your delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/SDP and use the promo code SDP to save $5 off. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. Let me say this. Josh is one of the most inspiring people we've ever spoken to on this show. That crew at Vax Hunters Canada is awesome. That was really cool. I'm really touched by what they're doing. Incredible work. Jesse, we got questions for the STP or for the STP, the press conference?
We do. So today, I think we're going to do Steve's Zoo Stories and Adam's History Corner. You guys are each going to have like 5 minutes max. So keep it concise. Keep your stories quick, okay?
Now,
all right.
Like, I don't, the only thing though is like, if I get near the record of amount of zoo stories told, I'm going to stop one short of the record. I'm not going to tell the most zoo stories ever.
Stop it.
I'm just going to stop. I'm referencing the Rosie DiMano, Patrick Marlowe shit.
I don't
explain the tweet, Jesse.
If I didn't understand, I don't think our listeners would understand right away.
I thought that was crystal clear, but I guess not.
For maybe a couple hundred of you out there are listening and we're like,
Explain the Patrick Marlowe thing, Steve.
So Patrick Marlowe, as you all know, has now played the most games in NHL history. There was a writer in Toronto named Rosie DiMano who basically, I don't have the exact tweet in front of me. I do believe she blocked me. Mm-hmm. But it was basically, listen, if I were him and I got to within one game of Gordie Howe's record, I would stop. to which everyone responded, "What are you talking about?" And it was the weirdest. Like, Simmons had something to say about Marlowe, and Cam Cole had something to say about it. And I was like, so I just tweeted, I'm like, I think the reason Patrick Marleau has the record for most NHL games played is because he has played the most NHL games. Like, why is everyone shitting on this guy?
Yeah, I think they're just mad. I think the sense is that they're mad that like he really shouldn't be in the league this year, and he only signed to break the record. It's like, so fucking what, man?
He
like,
should be at 1,900 because of lockouts. Like, what are you talking about?
That's actually true. That's actually true.
He should be closing in on 2,000.
Yeah,
we should be talking about the Sharks should sign him again. He should play next year.
He might. Who knows?
Maybe.
And they'll just have to deal with that. It'll be hard for them.
Yep.
Okay, you guys.
All right, sorry.
Are you guys ready?
Let's do it. Let's go.
Do you like the direction I took the show in? Was that good? That was
Who
great.
wants to go first?
You go ahead, Steve. I want to hear Zeus'
boy.
story.
Steve.
Good.
Okay.
Steve, this one's from Artemi Li on Twitter. We need one animal that cares the most about the Leafs and one animal that cares the least about the Leafs. Go.
Whoa, cares the most about the Leafs. I'm gonna have to say that would be the giraffe.
Why?
Because one of them plays for the Leafs, so he's a scratch tonight, but one of them does play for the Leafs. Also, that's basically their diet. They're the giraffe is they need the Leafs for sustenance to live. In fact, their body evolved to be better at eating leaves than other species. No other species thought, you know what? I'm simply going to evolve a 2-meter neck so that I can eat leaves better. But the giraffe did. So they're cheering for the Leafs no matter what. And the giraffe was always one of my favorite parts of the Zoomobile tour. If you look on your right, you'll see the Maasai giraffe. That's what they were called. Their specific name, the Maasai giraffe. 2 meters of their height is in their neck. Another 2 is in their legs. And they give birth standing up. I used to know other things like, their heart is the size of a basketball. And I used to know the gestation period of a giraffe. It takes forever. And also, giraffes are known to run fades on lions in the wild.
Really?
Yes, they have such a strong kick that it's been known to crush a lion's skull, which is why that story that I keep bringing up when my friend Rob and I encountered that gentleman who had gotten into the giraffe enclosure, we were so alarmed.
Right.
But because I've been on YouTube and I was just looking at this guy going, spin the wheel of how this guy is about to die.
Fair enough.
Luckily, he just simply walked away. Who cares the least about leaves? Oh, herbivore, carnivore of some sort, because they don't eat them. Lions hate leaves. They can't stand them. That's whenever you hear a lion roar, it's not like a rooster greeting you in the morning, or it's not him establishing territory. It's a leaf booped him on the nose after falling from a tree, and he's like, I hate these. Lions, they hate leaves.
If you've never heard a lion roar, by the way, in person, what an unbelievable sound that is.
That was one of the really cool things working at the zoo is like, especially early in the morning, you get there's no customers, and you would just hear a random animal.
That's cool.
Like,
that's cool.
You hear a lion in the distance.
That's pretty cool.
All right, Steve, you get credit for that one.
Yeah.
Cool as shit.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And it's definitely more difficult to appreciate when you're 19 and hungover. But now that I'm older, I'm like, that was very cool.
Look, no one's perfect. Even the best baseball players strike out. Occasionally, hockey players miss the net. And the best golfers sometimes 3-putt with the tournament on the line. So if you feel like you've come up short in the bedroom, that's perfectly okay. If it's bothering you, there are options. Go to GetRoman.com/STP now. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you on the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/STP and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without even leaving your home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a doctor and take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/STP right now to get $15 off your first month. Look, there's a straightforward way to take care of your ED. GetRoman.com/SDP. Get started now to save $15 on your first month of treatment.
Adam, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I got your question here. This is from Justin Sansbury. History Corner. Can Adam explain the origins of the Cold War? I just wrote a history paper on this subject. Go.
Shit. Well, he just wrote a history paper on it, so he's going to outdo me on this one. It's like, this is Adam's history trivia. Can you fuck with my paper, Adam?
This is a gotcha trap.
Yeah. Okay. So my uneducated opinion on that is I would say that the origins of the Cold War obviously are with the Russian Revolution. And if you really want, the problem with talking about history is, where do you start? Because it's all connected, right? It's always like, well, we could go back this far. But I think if you're really going to go back as far as you can on that one, you'd probably want to talk about the progressive and then regressive czars at the end of the 19th century in Russia.
Or my uncles.
Wanted parliament, which is called the Duma, still around today, but not really a parliament, just like it wasn't then. And then basically ineffectual Russian governments leading to the October, I believe they're the October riots in 1905, which is during the Russo-Japanese War. And then blah, 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 blah. Long story short, Russian Revolution happens. Now, this is where it gets a little bit kind of weird. So when the Russian Revolution happened, it was 1917, a couple of years before the peace treaty in Paris is signed, and Russia pulls out of the war. And, they start to fight. You got the Reds, who are the communists, and the Whites, who are the royalists. And they are going head to head in an enormous country that already didn't have any food or any munitions. So you can imagine how savage and awful the fighting was. The fighting doesn't end until 1922. And all of the major powers at the time, Britain, France, the United States, and I believe even Japan, who was on the opposite side in World War I. People forget that. Japan and Britain were close allies up until the 1930s. The Japanese, I believe, sent a contingent in, as did some Balkan countries as well. And they basically were trying to help the royalists win, reinstate some sort of royal family or parliamentary democracy, which they had had for about 6 months under Alexander Kerensky in Russia. So the communists then are like, okay, so all of the world hates us. They win the war, but then it's like, well, Britain and France, the United States, they won't even recognize that we exist, and they send in troops to try to defeat us. So it sort of makes them this, right? Like, we're gonna do our thing and try to spread communism around the world. And these dicks tried to stop us. So we're not really friendly with them. Then and we're fast forwarding a lot here, but you get into World War II, and it's a very complex issue, but at the heart of it is, anybody that really looks at World War II knows that Russia is the reason that Germany was defeated, without question. I think seven of every 8 German soldiers that died in Russia in World War II. 7 of every 8. It's insane. The numbers, guys, when you talk about the battles in World War II, we talk about D-Day. D-Day was, that might be the 10th biggest battle in Russia. Like, you're talking enormous casualties. Germany put one Russian city under siege for 16 months. They had no food, and you're talking about 1 million people. It was vicious, awful extermination warfare. And at the end of it, America drops a couple of atom bombs on Japan, effectively ending Japan's run. And you're left with 2 superpowers. Britain, which had been the financial and commercial center of the entire world in World War I, has lost all that. The empire is falling apart for them. They are broke. And the country's basically, needs decades to heal. You've got the United States, which is effectively outside of Pearl Harbor, and the soldiers that they sent over untouched, right? It's mean to say, and it seems a bit crass to say, because there were American lives that were affected. But when you're talking about, World War II, I believe it was 450,000 combat casualties for the United States. In Russia, it was something like 20 million. And Russia was still able to emerge a world superpower, and so was the United States. And what happened was Roosevelt, who was the president of the United States, worked pretty well with Stalin. And when Roosevelt died just before World War II ended, I got to remember who his VP was. VP, not Wallace, 1945. And that would be Harry Truman. That's it. Harry Truman wasn't really supposed to be even a player. Like VPs in United States politics usually are kind of more of a celebratory role. It's not as, they send them out and they go shake hands and kiss babies and stuff like that, but they're not empowered with a ton of stuff unless the sitting president dies, which in Roosevelt's case he did. And Harry Truman, this guy from Kansas, who's grew up on a farm, pretty simple guy, comes into power. And all of a sudden, this guy who nobody voted for is the head of the world's foremost superpower that has multiple atom bombs in its arsenal at the end of World War II and doesn't really know power politics very well. So his whole thing was develop the bomb, threaten the Russians, and back them off. Joseph Stalin had his own issues. Obviously, he was a paranoid guy, a monster, a horrendous, one of the most evil human beings in history. But what happened was everybody was sort of getting along to get along, right? They're all sort of Britain, America, Russia, all working together to defeat Germany. And what happens is Truman goes, we're just going to drop this bomb and freak the Russians out. Because after this is over, we think that Russia is going to be the next big fight. And the thing was, they thought they were going to surprise them with the atom bomb. When in actual fact, Stalin knew about it because there were a ton of communist sympathizers among the Manhattan Project, which developed the bomb in the first place. So the Russians already knew about it. And what they knew was the Americans weren't telling them, despite international agreements of sharing information and sharing weapons technology. So they had agreements in place where they were going to share all this stuff. The Americans were like, nah, we're not going to do that. So Russia automatically doesn't trust the Americans. Then you have the Russian sort of what Churchill called the Iron Curtain taking over Eastern Europe. So all of the territory that Russia, quote unquote, liberated, Poland and Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia and all of these countries, except for Yugoslavia, but that's a different story, become Russian satellite states. They become buffer states. These puppet communist governments pop up, all of them, and they are elected, but they're not elected. And so the Americans don't trust the Russians. The Russians don't trust the Americans. The Americans aren't sharing information. The Americans don't trust the Russians because they say they're doing these free and fair elections, and then they're fixing these elections, and all these countries are all of a sudden, woo, we're communists now. So that sort of builds, and then there's tension. And then, of course, as it goes with two world superpowers, you have at the end of World War II, both of them trying to spread their dominance. So you have the Americans who want friendly governments. They hope that the governments are democracies, but if they're not, America's going to just look past that. Oh, okay, so you're a bit of a dictator and you're kind of shitty to your people. As long as you're on our side, we're going to look past a lot of that, which is true. They do that, and they've been doing that for years. Russia, it's we're gonna finance communist guerrillas in X country. We're going to take over, and we're going to support that country and make sure that communism spreads around the world. So then you have in Korea a massive split in 1950 or 1951, which leads to the Korean War. And basically, it becomes, they called it when the Cold War sort of got hot. Russia is supporting North Korea, American, British, allied, NATO, whatever you want to call it. They're supporting the South. And that is sort of where the two kind of hit head to head. China's in there as well. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is two differing ideologies, democracy, communism, directly opposed to each other, going head to head. And that rises after World War II because there's only two superpowers. One of them's a democracy. One of them's a communist dictatorship, or a dictatorship of the proletariat, as they like to call it. And at the end of the day, it's almost like Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort. One cannot exist while the other survives. Does that make sense? The Harry Potter part?
Specifically for me.
Okay, so that's sort of because both of them exist in direct competition to each other. Both of them exist because we think that's evil, and the other side's going, "No, you're evil," and then they kind of go head to head, and that's where the Cold War kind of goes. And then obviously there's a ton of incidents, Afghanistan, and there's ask the Poles what anything after 1930 looked like. It was just an awful, awful time. And I think at the end of the day, there are some, just from an objective perspective, democracy and capitalism are going to win because in a communist system, it doesn't lend itself to pushing humanity forward in a technological sense. And we've seen that because the Russian economy eventually just stagnated because it just couldn't keep up with just unbridled capitalism. Doesn't mean that unbridled capitalism isn't evil too. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you can, unchecked capitalism, evil. Unchecked communism, evil. And I think what we're going to try to have to find as a human race eventually is a little bit of capitalism and a little bit of social safety net, sprinkle it all in together, and we can find something somewhere in the middle where we take care of our disadvantaged and make sure that people aren't dying needlessly. And at the same time, people who are intelligent and smart and successful can go forth and innovate and invent and make humanity's cost and living situation much, much better, but not at the cost of everybody. And we're seeing that right now. There's an enormous wealth gap in the Western countries, and then you're seeing the remnants of communism. Which, by the way, China's not even communist anymore. They're what's called state capitalism. So they're not even really a communist. They call themselves that, but they're not really. So it's a very
what did the Romans do?
Issue I've tried to simplify. I hope it wasn't too boring.
I want to solve problems with combat.
Bad idea.
Let's go back to that. Now let's take all of the football stadiums, and instead of playing football in them, we do hand combat.
We have such a good hockey show.
Anyway, I hope it wasn't boring. But anyway, that's the basic. Please read all the books on it. Very fascinating stuff. Helps explain where we are.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Man. I mean, if this is your first one, you're not. I mean, you're gonna have an opinion.
What are you getting?
No matter what.
His first podcast, you mean?
Man, first time listening?
Yeah, shout out all the first time listeners. Shout out all the last time listeners who will never listen to a show again. We appreciate never listen
again.
I was talking about the Leafs and then Doug Ford, and then they brought this guy on to tell you where to get vaccinated. One of them was talking about a giraffe. The other's talking about Stalin. And Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
And Jack, there's a little bit of Jack Campbell. Hey, Nick Foligno, Leaf debut tonight. Hope it goes well.
There it is.
Man. What a show.
Awesome. All right, can I bring it back down again?
Please do.
All right. This week, Derek Chauvin was sentenced, charged with murder. Rest in peace, George Floyd. Mm-hmm. Your death hopefully was not in vain. At the same time, minutes before Derek Chauvin's sentencing, police in Ohio killed a 16-year-old black girl who was wielding a knife. Her name was Micaiah Bryant. And today in Minneapolis, they buried Dante Wright, who was also killed by police. So police reform needs to happen in America for them to stop killing Black Americans. The Derek Chauvin sentencing was a step forward, but the work is very much not done.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw someone remark, I don't remember who it was, like it should say something that we're all surprised that he was found guilty on all 3 counts, even though we literally saw the murder on camera for 9 minutes.
And let's not forget, there are 3 other officers that are still due in court on that particular case.
Yep.
Not over on that one.
Nope. Not by a long shot.
Jesse, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.